everyone. I'm Marlene Moore, creator of the Back to Basics piano method and creator of the Back to Basics teacher training program that we have on Facebook. I hope you will join us if you are an advanced student or a existing experienced piano teacher. Just look for Back to Basics piano teachers and come in and say hello. This program is based on 4 things: love, achievement, freedom, and fun. That's the philosophy and the ideals of Back to Basics. It has a lot of other things too, a lot of good things that are going to actually take, would you believe, 30 videos to get through 10 curriculum books, plus another 12 additional books that we call companion books. It's a new way of life for teaching, and hopefully we'll put some life into teaching, because I feel that that is needed so badly for our children and adults and teachers and parents. So hopefully it's love, achievement, freedom, and fun for teachers and students and the parents, especially the children. They need to have the fun. All of my books are sold by J.W. Pepper. I will leave this outside on one of the remarks if you are ready to buy a book. If you are a piano teacher and you're watching this, or if you are part of our group on Facebook, you will now need to have books 1, 2, 4. And very soon we'll be in book 5, so you might as well get book 5 while you're at it. The books cost anywhere from $10 and up, depending on the level. And you get a lot for that amount. I wish they were in color, but if they were in color, we'd be charging twice as much as that. So they're not. But we can solve that because the children can color their own pictures. There aren't as many illustrations in this one. There get to be less as they get older. But books 1, 2, 3 have quite a few pictures for them to color. And I hope that you will get them to do that, because it perks up the book just a little bit. Okay, last time we talked about some other books, and I'm just going to review that for a minute before we get into book 4. I did show you my new book last time, I think, but I'm going to review that again. This is to do with stage fright, better known as performance anxiety. If you have performance anxiety, or if any of your students have this, and most of them do, this is a good book for you to have. This will help you a lot. And we also have on Facebook the Performing Without Fear group that consists of people mainly who have level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4 stage fright. There are many kinds of performance anxieties. Now, this book is 220 pages, large print, and it's getting rave reviews. Nobody used to talk about stage fright, you know. Nobody used to talk about that at all. But now they do. And this is my story of how I got through stage fright. Was it easy? No, it wasn't easy. But it is possible and probable. So get the book and join our group and play for us. And things will happen for you. Okay? Alrighty. And I hope you have by now got scales, chords, and arpeggios. Doesn't have to be this book. This is called the Brown Book, but I like this one. But you need to know all your scales, 12 major scales, 12 minor scales, harmonic, 12 melodic minor scales, chromatic scales, scales turned upside down, scales inverted, scales in sixths and thirds and everything else. Good stuff in here. And chords, triads, and chords that take a trip. And that's called arpeggios. You need to know these backwards because you will be teaching them in depth, no matter whether you teach classical piano or jazz or modern piano. It all starts with the classics. It all starts with the structure, doesn't it? This also helps an awful lot of people. Some people don't agree with that. Some people are violently opposed to hand and exercises. I don't know when that started. I taught for 50 years. I taught students of all ages, mainly advanced ones, but every age too, and preschool, and teachers. And I found that every 10 years somebody decided that hand and exercises were no good and they threw them out, and all the teachers would not teach them anymore. And then everybody complained that the technique of children was not as good as it used to be. So everybody started doing hand and exercises again, and this was the story. In other words, in the 50 years that I taught, I saw them change about 3 times of yay or nay on this book. And to me, it's always been a very, very good teaching aid and something that I practice as often as I can. I do. Would you like to hear my favorite hand and exercise? Here it is. So what does that do? Stretches, beautiful octaves with little chords in the middle. Gives you lots of balance. And that's what we need as a pianist, because everything needs to be in balance. Our brains, our fingers, our hands, our shoulders, our posture, which reminds me I'm sitting much too close. I have to push my bench out just a little bit. There we go. Make sure you're sitting high enough so that you are level with the keyboard. We don't want to see this. We don't want to see this in you or in students. Hope we're doing this for sight reading every which way that you can. Hope you're using this. Hope you have one of these. It's called a note finder. You can get it on Amazon or in pretty much every music store. Hope you have one of these. And your marker, you're going to need it for sight reading. You can use the back too. Makes a great board for grocery lists, or what to remind yourself to tell students, or with this new teaching online, this is very handy because everything is visual and it's right there. Have them copy whatever you do. Or funny faces, whatever you want to use it for. It's very, very handy. I got that on Amazon too. It was great. I use it quite a bit. So let's get to book 4. As I explained to you last time, book 4 is intermediate. It's sort of the little spot in between primary and higher intermediate. I would call this low intermediate or high primary. It's the pivotal book where we still have them marked as rote pieces or sight pieces. We left off on a sight piece. Skip to my loo. it's a sight piece, you're not going to be teaching this by rote. You're going to be teaching it, first of all, the key is in F major. So you're going to have the child play the F major scale. The F major triads. They know triads by now. Broken triads. Same thing with the left hand. Then you're going to have them, you're going to go through with them the sounds of the notes. But they're going to discover this for themselves. And remind them we have B flat because of F major. So they're going to find the right hand first, just in a little step. If you like, you can have them count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, so on. And get that firmly in their brains. Have them play it many, many, many times. Then left hand. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just that much. I think that many teachers, because they were taught this way, make that mistake of having them sight read the whole piece, all the right hand, and then having them sight read the left hand for the whole piece. How boring can that be for a child or for the teacher? Especially when it's full of mistakes. Mistakes are okay. I mean, there's happy mistakes and there's sad mistakes, but it's still teaching the fingers the wrong spots, right? So we've got to find those right spots. Why not just take a little bit? Would you give a child a big bowl of oatmeal and say, okay, you have to eat it all at once? You have to get it down right in one shot, and they put the bowl up and they try to eat the whole thing all at once. Nobody eats like that, I don't think. I'm not sure, but I don't think people eat like that. We're supposed to eat one bite at a time, huh? Does that make sense? So teach it that way. And then you're going to go on and put that part together. If they do that well, give them a sticker just for that part. Then step 2. Or you can use this first. Say, can you find these notes? Very good. Before you ever get to the piece, you could do that. It introduces them to what you're trying to do. Alrighty, so you're going to go on to the next step then. Right hand. And by now, their ears are so well trained, it won't take long for them to figure that out. Left hand. And then when they know that really well, and they've sight read this, and for fortification at the bottom of the page, we have a little quiz. The quarter note gets how many counts, the whole note gets how many counts, the half note gets how many counts. And by grade or level 4, they now know the names of those notes. It's not just the black note anymore. Okay, let's talk about rote piece, octopus dance. Hope you're going to color your octopus or octopi. Octopuses? Octopi, I think. A minor scale. Left hand. You know, as I said, I've taught for 50 years. It doesn't matter what piece I'm about to play, whether it's for the children or for myself or for a teacher in training. I always, 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 always play the scale first before I play the piece. Why is that? Why is that? Well, it kind of tunes up the ear. It says to your brain, hey, we're in A minor. Hey, we are going to stay in A minor for a while. We can do that broken. If the child is a larger child, you can do octaves. Oh, the sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want with A minor. You can improvise with A minor. That's great fun too. But we won't get into that today because that's my favorite topic is improvisation and composition. And we're talking about octopus dance, which is a rope piece. So we're going to teach it first in steps. Depending on the child, where would step one be for a child who's kind of slow? I would say here, like that. A child who is not quite as slow, and I don't mean unintelligent, I mean they don't grasp things as quickly as other children. For a child who does grasp things a little faster, I would go this far. For a real whiz kid, I would call the first line step one. Okay, and then the left hand. If you want, you can teach it up here. And it's more natural for them, but this piece that I wrote happens to be down here. Repeat. Take note where those accents are. Leaning down a little harder on that accented part. That's the whole charm of this piece. Because that's the way the octopuses or octopi are dancing. The words are, octopus are dancing in the sea, in the sea. I can see them dancing, octopus are dancing in the sea, happy as can be. You may have noticed I'm not a singer. I do apologize for my singing. I heard somewhere that instrumentalists are usually terrible singers. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've never been all that great at singing, and my training is piano. That's what we're doing, right? Okay, so depending on the age and the ability of the child, that's where you mark in the steps for the rope pieces. They don't really need to see this other than you can point out, what's this note over here? Oh, that's here. Good. Let's find some of these notes. Have it like a little jigsaw puzzle. Use your note finder. Teach it for a little bit with your dry erase board. That works good too. Okay? All right, so let's go to the next one. Sight piece. And sight pieces are taught differently than rote pieces. Skipping through the leaves is an easy piece. Why do I have an easy piece after a rather difficult piece? If you look at most of the repertoire from books 1 to 10 in the curriculum books, you're going to notice this, that there is a difficult piece and then an easy piece. and then a difficult piece, and then an easy piece. Psychology. Psychologically, we don't want everything too easy. And we don't want everything too difficult. We don't. We don't appreciate going for a piano lesson every week and the teacher puts the music notation up there and it's always really, really hard. It's defeating. So this is sort of the idea of challenge, relief. Challenge, relief. Most children at this level should be able to read this now. I'm going to take out all of the staccato notes. Why did I take out all of the staccato notes? What? Because it is the easiest way to teach the piece. If a child has to be looking at the note, thinking of the name, finding its spot, and then making it bounce, that's very difficult. Let's leave out the making it bounce part. It's supposed to be this, but I'm suggesting that you teach it legato. Forget about those little dots for now. After the child knows the piece, then put the staccato in. And it's kind of like putting a cherry on the top of the ice cream sundae. This is, you've added the nuts, maybe. Sorry. So you can tell them that. Now we're ready to put the coconut on top, or the cherry, or whatever you like. Alrighty. By the way, I address this to the people who are in my Back to Basics piano teachers group. Once your students begin to learn these pieces, and some of you have students now in book 4, some are just starting book 1, 2, 3, but once they get established and they're now used to doing things online and videos and so on, ask the parents if you can video the child, and please put your videos onto the group. I think it's really good for the students to do this, and I think it's good for other teachers in our group to see what other teachers are doing and how their students are doing. Not from the viewpoint of competitiveness or anything like that, but just from an educational view. So I do hope that you will download some of the videos of the children. Even more so, if you're very brave, do a lesson. Once you get back teaching one-on-one, do a lesson of yourself teaching that child. Of course, you need to ask the parents' permission for you to videotape them or put them onto the group where other people can see them. Usually parents are very cooperative to do with that. Okay, just gonna check our time here. Need the glasses, and we're doing very well. Okay, this page is Finish the Melody. Oh, excuse me, we're on Lullaby. All right, let's play Lullaby. There should be a little retardando there at the end that's not marked in your book. You do need the book to carry on further than this because I can't always have the camera onto the notation and onto me and onto the piano. You need your own book, so make sure you get your books soon. This is a rote piece, so you're going to divide it into sections. And again, that depends on the ability of the child. I usually call this step 1. All right, hands separately and then hands together. You don't necessarily refer to the book for rote teaching. You're looking down here. You're playing it for the child. You might have your book over here on a table. The child doesn't really need to see it until we're all done. And then you can quiz them. You can say, well, where's this note? Because you still want them to know their notes and to be able to sight read that. The next one is sight reading, Finish the Melody. This is taken from Making Melodies book. And then it continues, the child writes the ending for that. We did talk about the Making Melodies book. This is to teach them how to have a better ear. Ear training, how to improvise. Nothing better for ear training than improvisation and listening to a lot of recordings. Listen, 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 listen. That's the key, because music is a listening thing. So they will, eventually put chords with this. I'm just making that up. You can have any left hand that you want. And then on the bottom, it's a little excerpt taken from the Playwright book. We don't all learn to sight read at the same level of excellence. Playwright book is for children who really need a little more practice in learning how to read notes. It works. It's called Playwright. Okay, little bird, here we go. Notice how so many pieces in this book are going from C major into F major. So we will review C major and F major and the chords that go with them. They need that structure to know where they're at. The key structure. All right, so they've learned this before. They learned it up here. They learned that in their other books. 3 times, 3 versions. Now all they're doing is putting the left hand that they've already learned. I love you, you love me, you love me, I love you. We're taking what we've learned for the left hand and from the other books, putting that with this so that the result is a lovely piece with a harmony to it. I colored my little bird. Hope you will too in your edition. And the children, that could be part of the assignment. Do you have an assignment book? I think that's so important to have an assignment book. Have a look at the ones that I did as cartoons to remind children to practice. Though I hate that word practice. I would much rather use the word play. I never practice. I just never practice. I only play. I like to make my piano sing. I like to play. They like that idea too, believe me. There's nothing worse than you gotta practice. There's nothing worse. Okay. Um, I also colored Copycat. It's a brown cat looking in the mirror. I composed this piece for a little girl that I knew a long time ago, and she was a copycat. That's a long story, but I'll play the piece for you. Big ending. I usually teach this piece, this is a rote piece, a little differently than what I've been talking about. I just say, can you do this down here? And the child plays that here. Can you play this down here? And she plays. She's copying you with the left hand. It's a good way to teach it. It's faster. It works. It's still ear training. Works well. The only one you have to change is at the end you've got a chord. She's got an octave. If they can't reach the octave, just take the lower C and play that. That's a fun piece. That's a favorite for recitals. So is Octopus Dance. Copycat and Octopus Dance are always favorites. Okay. Row, row, row your boat. F major. That F major just seems to work there. Good idea to transpose to other keys. This is a rote piece as well, and it's not that easy because they haven't had a lot of this. So, my